Incredible Resurrected Ancient Sounds. History abandons a lot of proof. We can look at the remnants of vanquished civic establishments, contemplate the bones of the long dead, and read pretty much all the cool parts which were bypassed in evaluation school. One thing we can't accomplish such a great deal is hear the hints of the removed past, however that hasn't prevented individuals from attempting to fill in the spaces. Through sweeps, anatomical investigation, and, as a rule, the marvels of 3D printing, researchers and sound designers have empowered dead individuals, creatures, and instruments to thunder to life for the advanced world to hear. Number 1. A pile of extinct birds. Te Papa, the Public Gallery of New Zealand, opened the Te Tau show in May 2019. Remembered for the component are various terminated local flying creatures, for example, the fearsome host falcon and its similarly imposing prey, the moa. The vocalizations of these a distant memory avians have been remade also, through the endeavors of Te Papa staff and Wellington sound creators. Highlighted above is the thing that a host falcon call may have seemed like, as delivered by sound architect Piers Gilbertson. Gilbertson started with the vocalizations of a brilliant hawk and moved their pitch. Shockingly, the outcome, as indicated by Gilbertson, seemed like a huge, irate chicken. Then, he went to the Wahlberg's hawk and, working with individual sound fashioner Chris Ward, eased back the length of the Wahlberg's call while holding its recurrence range. As referenced, the Haas Falcon call can be heard previously. You can tap on the organized connection toward the finish of this sentence to likewise hear remanifestations of the moa, the finches duck, the New Zealand goose, and the huia. Number 2. Panpipes from Roman Egypt. In March 2018, specialists at the University of Kent effectively 3D printed a working copy of a bunch of panpipes from Roman Egypt. The first, and very delicate, reed panpipes were checked alongside various other old instruments as a component of a collective exertion between a few establishments, the ultimate objective being presentation of the remade instruments' sounds at University College London's Petrie Museum of Egyptian Archaeology. Basically fabricating another arrangement of reed panpipes for the task wasn't practical, discovering reeds at the necessary size would have been almost unimaginable. Different materials were required. A bamboo imitation was made, however the triumphant material was a biodegradable thermoplastic. At the point when a 3D printed copy was tried, it was found to play a melodic scale known to have existed in Roman Egypt, as affirmed by antiquated compositions. Dr. Ellen Swift, a task colleague, depicted the finding as a genuine aha second, however the scientists were astounded at how sharp the panpipes sounded. Number 3. Ancient Greek music. You didn't need to look far to discover music in Old Greece. A lot of documentation of it endures. In any case, in spite of a plenitude of data on instruments, notes, scales, etc., the real solid of Old Greek music has been more diligently to nail down. The first sources portray the music in wording very not quite the same as what an advanced performer would be familiar with. Before, what could be dependably deciphered and remade has sounded odd, no doubt. Dr. Armand Dangour of the University of Oxford tried to clear the disarray. He broke down a papyrus, found in 1892, which contains part of an ensemble from the play Orestes, composed by Euripides in 408 BC. The score on the papyrus was unusual by Western norms, utilizing quarter tone stretches. As indicated by the teacher's investigation, those quarter tone stretches functioned as passing notes, and the theme itself was really apparent. He likewise indicated that the music included word painting, for example, a falling rhythm combined with mourn. In 2016, following 3 years of exertion, Dr. Dangour had reproduced the music on the papyrus. An extra guide to his work was the recreation and playing of a few very much saved instances of the alos, a somewhat omnipresent breeze instrument from the time. This has given a lot of knowledge into the pitch scope of Old Greek music. In 2017, the Orestes piece was performed by an alos player joined by an ensemble. If you what you see, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Number 4. Nashyaman. The dead talked in 2020. Less drastically, yet more all things considered, put, researchers had the option to remake the voice of a 3,000-year-old Egyptian minister named Nashyaman in January. The vocal lot of the mummy being referred to was very much safeguarded, fitting for a man whose casket peruses, Nashyaman, valid for voice. The mummy's throat was CT checked, and a copy of the vocal parcel was 3D printed. This imitation was appended to a speaker associated with a PC, which created the sound to be funneled through. The eventual outcome was an E sound, but a reasonable one as per Dr. David Howard, a University of London discourse researcher. Imitating the sound of Nashyaman talking words would be more troublesome. For one, the mummy's tongue hasn't held up close to just as his throat. More information on Nashyaman's vocal plot enunciations would likewise help, also more understanding into the circumstance and phonetics of his language. Be that as it may, Dr. Howard accepts that it very well might be conceivable to produce entire words in the embalmed minister's voice later on. Number 5. The Acoustics of Stonehenge. What did Stonehenge sound like more than 4,000 years back? Not equivalent to now, obviously. Stones have fallen over or been removed, changing the acoustics. In 2019, Dr. Trevor Cox of the University of Salford, a man with a premium in acoustic paleohistory, duplicated how solid would have resonated through Stonehenge in 2200 BC, with the entirety of its unique stones set up. This was cultivated by utilizing definite laser outputs of Stonehenge to 3D print a 1:12 scale imitation of the old site. The small-scale Stonehenge was set up in an acoustic exploration chamber and exposed to sounds played at multiple times their typical recurrence. Dr. Cox found that in spite of the landmark having been very outside in any event, when entire, it had acoustics like an encased space. Sound would have consistently ricocheted off the stones, and voices inside would have sounded all the more impressive. The impact presumably would have appeared to be very noteworthy to individuals of the time. The following stage for Dr. Cox's group will be to test the acoustics of Stonehenge at different focuses during its reality.